name is Lakyn Prough. Today I'll be representing the Neosho FFA chapter, and I'll be giving a Missouri Cattlemen speech over what beef producers have learned throughout this pandemic. I think it's safe to say that we've all learned a lot over this past year as we've been dealing with this dreaded pandemic. We've learned how to Zoom and socially distance. We've learned how to properly wear a mask and when they are needed. We have learned which businesses can stay open and, unfortunately, which have been deemed non-essential and must stay closed in the name of public safety. Through all of the uncertainty that this pandemic has brought, one constant has remained, and that was that our farmers and ranchers would continue to raise livestock and grow crops, even as the world around them would come to a screeching halt. There was never any question of the status of Missouri cattlemen and women. They were essential, but to say that their lives weren't affected could not be farther from the truth. Think back 6 months ago to what our grocery stores looked like at the start of COVID. Obviously, there was no toilet paper on the shelves, but also, if you went back to the meat counter, you would struggle to find what you came in to buy. I can remember my mother going in a family market looking to purchase some steaks and seeing just one package of ribeyes on the shelf. And even more disappointing to her was having that one package picked up by another customer before she could get to them. This was not just the case at Family Market, this was happening all over our state and country. After striking out at a couple different grocery stores, my mother soon came to the realization that she was going to have to get creative if we were going to eat steak anytime soon. Her solution was to call up her neighbor Dale. Dale is a small local producer and was happy to sell us half the beef to put in our freezer. Dale helped our family greatly by providing us with a source of protein that we were struggling to find at any grocery store. As much as he was helping us, though, we were helping him. As crazy as it sounds in a time where beef couldn't be found in the grocery stores, beef prices were plummeting at the stockyards. Ranchers just like Dale were happy to provide neighbors with beef, frankly, because it allowed them to stay in the black. According to Kelly Knuckles, a policy specialist at the National Sustainable Agriculture Coalition, many local farmers and smaller processing plants that used to work with restaurants are redirecting their supply directly to consumers and are seeing a huge increase in demand. Cattlemen quickly learned that in times of great need like this pandemic, we don't need large packers to be able to get our beef to our consumers. We can cut out the middleman and get the product straight to those who are searching for the product. Another lesson learned by producers is that Facebook and other social media sites are great tools when marketing beef to local consumers. Lucas Thogmartin of Thogmartin Cattle Company had this to say about advertising his beef on social media. Social media has allowed us to capitalize on the open market, but has also given us a positive relationship with our customers. Although the initial order comes in through social media, when we are actually delivering the beef to the customers, we are given the opportunity to get to know them and them us. I think this gives them more confidence in what they are putting on the table for their families to eat, and I think they have more faith in the quality of the product. Additionally, Lucas spoke about some of his customers actually coming out to the farm and looking at the calves themselves to get a better idea of how their beef is being raised. So although Lucas and other cattlemen learned that they could market their products directly to consumers via social media, Lucas and his family took the opportunity to connect with their customers on a greater level than just a business transaction. When life gives you lemons, make some lemonade. The USDA reports that 93% of Americans want to know where their food comes from, and 75% of Americans indicate the source of origin of their food is a major attribute when making their food choices. Yet, the average American is 3 generations removed from the farm, and less than 2% of our population is directly involved in farming. Still, this pandemic has handed cattlemen a golden opportunity to educate consumers about the food that fills their plates. Again, I turn to the Thogmartins, who went above and beyond with their buyers to help bridge the gap between pasture and plate. I've already touched on their willingness to facilitate farm visits, but they also took the opportunity to help educate consumers about how to properly prepare the beef after it's been delivered. Lucas explained at the time of my interview that they had sold over 80 head of beef to locals throughout this pandemic. Most were sold half or whole carcasses. Many of those customers, however, had never had that volume of beef in their freezers before. They were accustomed to cuts they had regularly purchased at the grocery stores, but were not as comfortable with the cuts they had passed over at their local grocers. To help ease this discomfort, the Thogmartins took it upon themselves to provide recipe cards when they delivered their orders. Lucas explained that they felt the need to help consumers find creative ways to cook new cuts of beef. So although there are countless other cattlemen who, like the Throckmortons, saw this pandemic as an opportunity to help educate consumers, it's something that we have to do to push the perception of agriculture more positively. Finally, if farmers haven't done enough already for our communities throughout this pandemic, they're still giving back to local schools and communities through the Mo Beef, Mo Kids program. The mission of this program, according to the group's website, is to provide more beef more often in school lunch programs while educating young people about farm families and the food that fills their plates. Through this program, farmers can donate a beef animal to the school district for the district to use in the meals that they provide to the students. Once the farmer donates to the program, the animal will be sent to harvest and the delicious product then to the school. Since we know the price of beef is high, this is an avenue for the school districts to provide a valuable protein source to help educate students and to help connect with local farmers who support the school district. We have learned how to properly wash our hands. We've turned our classrooms and our offices virtual. But as cattle producers, we've learned how to directly connect with our consumers, how to use social media and other online platforms to market our product. We've even turned this terrible situation into a learning opportunity for those who have been uninformed about the source of their meats. Most importantly, we have learned that Missourian cattlemen and women can be trusted to provide a safe and reliable source of protein, and that they deserve our thanks. Because as my mother learned back in April, without them, there would simply be no beef for dinner.